Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the last meeting of the Hyde Park Planning Board of 2025. If you could please stand with me as we pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item on the agenda is a continued public hearing for rent-a-space self-storage. May I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The applicant has asked us to adjourn this public hearing to January 7th. They are still working on some of the open items out there, specifically the landscaping between their site and the Scenic Hudson site. But they hope to have something in a presentation for us on the 7th. I'm just going to do a quick run around here. Tad, any comments on this?
No.
Ms. Franson?
No.
Mr. Rennie? Welcome.
No comments.
Ms. Bitten?
No.
Mr. Tuttle?
No comments.
Mr. Waters?
No comments.
Ms. Walser?
No comment.
Mr. Oliver?
Nothing to add.
Ms. Lee?
No comments.
Mr. Guercio?
No comments.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak to this application? There being none, may I please get a motion to adjourn this public hearing to January 7th, 2026?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'm trying to get it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is another continued public hearing. This is the Haviland Mobile Home Park Lot merger and site plan. We are still finalizing some of the details on the site plan specifically, and because we're going to be doing a dual resolution for this. So they have asked that we, because they're still working on a, right, stop it. Anyway, first let me ask if we could open this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to let Tad explain the little piece about what they're moving on the site plan that is.
Oh, I got this one. This one's good.
There you go.
So the applicant has the opportunity to rearrange some lots. Several of the lots are in the floodplain, and so this is an opportunity for them to try to move some things around and see if they can get some of those lots out of the floodplain. So they propose to extend, was it Jean Court or Alicia Court? One of them.
Yep.
And in doing so, they will have to fill, which will encroach on both the stream buffer and a wetland. So they contacted me and asked how do we avoid this? Basically, you just go back and put them where they were before and don't propose to move them. So I think that's where they are now. We're also looking at the chart that's on that page. One of the columns seemed to add more confusion than it did clarity, so I asked them if they would take it out. So those are the couple of things that they're looking at changing before the next meeting.
That's a good resolution for those two lots, I think, because there were concerns. So that kind of an elegant solution. Thank you for working on that. Ms. Franson, any comments?
So back on December 10th, we had sent an email out while we were doing the workshop, and in addition, they were going to pick a couple of monument locations, make sure the maps are signed by the surveyor. The attorney was going to look at the draft consolidation deed and just a final review once they get their edits made. So we have to wait for the plans to come in.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Mr. Rennian?
No further comments in addition to that.
Okay, Ms. Bitten?
Yeah, just waiting on the consolidation deed, and that's it from the legal standpoint.
Feel free to pull the closer to you.
Yeah, it says Bonnie said just waiting on the consolidation deed.
Excellent, thank you. Mr. Tuttle, any comments?
No comments.
Mr. Waters?
No comments.
Ms. Wasser?
No comments?
Mr. Oliver?
No comments.
Ms. Lee?
No comments.
Mr. Guercio?
No comments.
Would anybody in the audience like to comment to this application? There being none, could I get a motion to please adjourn this public hearing to January 21st, 2026?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Excellent. The next item on the agenda is another continued public hearing. This is for the CIA Hotel and Villas. They have site plan and subdivision approvals, as well as a rezone before us. And come on down, guys. And yet again, we got more and more information yesterday and today.
That's fair. That's not fair.
It is, no, it's not fair.
No. All right.
Easy there.
good
Easy
start,
there.
guys.
Yeah, right.
Easy there.
I could say almost.
We're off and running, I see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, appreciate it so much.
I would. But you can barely see this. It's good.
Massing.
So,
I'm gonna give mine.
Did you?
Thank you. Massing diagram. Sorry, it goes down.
Could you please could you fix Miss Branson's? There you go. Thank you.
knocking over.
May I get a motion to
All right.
open the public hearing, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right.
Welcome back,
Oh,
gentlemen.
good to be back.
I see Lou's back from his European tour.
Yes, I think our last meeting he was on, it was 3 in the morning where he was.
Wow.
So at your December 3rd meeting, I think that we narrowed many of the issues, and I thought that was a very constructive meeting. We made our submission, that December 9th submission, where we went through the 6 or 7 of those outstanding,
Yep.
your outstanding recommendations, most of which, or almost all of which, we accepted. And just for clarification purposes, there's not, what we submitted today is we had already submitted on that December 9th electronic submission to you all. Cynthia, what Cynthia wanted today was updated, full hard copies for the record, and half-size copies, hard copies for Tad and Pete. And then we also included it as electronic to you all. But pretty much, there's not a lot there that we hadn't sent to you December 9th in that submission. This was more just to help Cynthia bring it all up to speed and to give Pete and Tad hard copies, which they requested. So
That is Cynthia's strong point. She
I
helps
know.
to get us all up to speed.
She calls me, it's like ordering from a deli. I need 1 full hard copy, I need 2 halves, I need 2.
Hold the mustard.
And I'm there, taking the order. So that's what was sent over today, so we just didn't want to surprise you with any new information. But you did ask us to come in and walk you through those changes that we made at that December 9th submission. Included the commitment for the 256 feet of the southern sidewalk that you should have, the inclusion of the front entrance to Coco's, and additional landscaping and clarification and attenuation, additional screening, and some revised materials at key areas such as the valet parking, the sports courts, the compactors, some further changes that you requested and commitments to a potential future road connection, and then you would ask for further elaboration on our proposed modifications to the Section 108 4.5 development standards. And then there were some additional verbal comments the next day that I got from 1 or 2 people that we also included. So again, These came out of the December 3rd meeting, and I think we pretty much tried with all sincerity to respond favorably to them, and I'll let Michael walk you through some of the details on them, and Chris, and entertain obviously any questions or comments. So please.
All right, I'll jump in. The documents I gave you guys copies of, I'm going to show you here on the screen, are the ones that changed from the December 9th version. A lot of all the site plans you see there, we wanted to make sure that the picture is the same here at the Coco's lot to show the relocation of the golf cart charging area and the reconfiguration of this area here. But to start on this document, this is from the landscape plans, and I got to navigate this a little bit. Zooming in. All right, so making our way over here, Tad, we had talked about the concerns with the screening here. We've added the canopy trees. You can see right along the perimeter of the parking, and we brought back. We had always intended to have them there. They just didn't show up on the last one. But this is all going to be screened. It's going to be a large berm. So as your goal is the same as our goal. As customers come in here, we don't want people seeing the parking lot. So the idea is to screen it in its entirety. So that's what we've done there. You can see also additional screening here for the parking lot for the retail. You can see the extended sidewalk over here, but I'll let Chris and Joe go through that when they do the civil drawing review. We've added a doorway here for the retail. Again, keeping in mind we don't have tenants just yet, but the idea will be to have a door on Route 9. We've modified the sidewalk system here. Obviously, wherever we do put doors, we're going to have a sidewalk from the roadway to the doorway. I'm going to get into a little bit about this part of the building here on some other drawings. We've got the screening back here, keeping in mind that over a third of the building is actually behind that fence. So just jumping ahead to the next drawing here. Okay. I want to call attention to, on the landscape drawings, there's a drawing here I didn't really bring up last time, but it really shows the different type of fences that we are going to be installing in the customer areas. So if you look at the colored lines here, and then you see what our plans are for the different types of fencing and decorative fencing that's going to happen, I think you get a better sense of exactly what our intent is. Again, I'm going to keep saying this. Our goals are the same as your goals. We don't want this to look cheap in any way. We've replaced the chain link fence with the vinyl. We're going to go with a stockade fence. I talked to Rob a little bit about this. It's going to match the color of the building. The stockade fence we're going to do to shield the compactors behind the service building, and I have a rendering of that. And that was so that it's completely opaque. We didn't want to see through any of these. Some of these beautiful fences you actually can see through. So the idea was to have something completely opaque there. Moving ahead, we updated the lighting drawings again because the footprint of the Coco's area changed considerably. So you'll see on the blow up of that the photometrics are done. We've added the exterior lighting around that building. It wasn't on the plans before. So that's why we included this in the resubmittal. We updated the fire department plans where the relocated hydrants are and some of the requests we've gotten from both fire departments. So we've accommodated that. This we updated because, again, that base plan got updated. So we wanted to make sure that was updated. This one as well, the actual master plan, which is going to go on record once we get approval here tonight, I hope. That this is the footprint that we want to show as the latest. Keep smiling. Same one here.
Checking to see if we're paying attention.
Yeah, thank you.
We are.
Okay, well done. And again, the rendered site plan all updated. All right, so let's jump to the service building here. I said a similar presentation last time, but I want to go a little bit further here because, you know, we went ahead and made sure that the renderings kind of match the elevations, although they're still not perfect. And the reason being, we don't have a tenant in here, right? So we have an architectural language that we are going to be you know, pursuing here. Once we understand who the tenants are, that's going to shift and change potentially. Not major, but it depending on where the fenestration has to go, might be a result of what the actual tenant is doing inside. So, you know, the types of windows that you see in the rendering, the proportions are all going to be matching this, but final is kind of pending those tenants. When we look here, I gave you guys a separate sheet. I wanted to kind of go through the massing diagram, and here, I have that here. For us, I know that there's been the concern that it's you know, the back of the building is a long building, but what I wanted to do here is kind of show you when we were studying the massing of this. As you approach from Route 9, that adjacent building blocks the majority of the rear part of this building. As you make your way in, you're going to see, obviously, we've done it with the help of Rob and Gigi. We added this gable at the end here. The focus is obviously going to be on the building that fronts Route 9. As you turn into this, you're going to see it's a parking lot. It's going to be hopefully filled often. And really, this is what you see of that back building. I know there was a concern about the length of the roof in the back there. You really don't see it. I mean, that's essentially where we are on this. And if you go back to the rendering, that is the goal, is that you're going to be seeing there we go. You know, this is really the look we're looking for. You'll see that we updated the small key plan. This will the face of the building will move in and out by about 2 feet into different sections, with the wood protruding and the metal receding, and then the fenestration in between. As you see here, we have the landscaping, which is now updated on the landscape plans. And again, you'll see it's a parking lot. This, you can see the stockade fence here, which is about a third of the building. It goes beyond that. And you just see this really kind of simple, clean architectural line. We added the elevations for the pro shop. There was a rendering already in the deck.
Before you go to the pro shop, just maybe highlight the front door of Coco's and explain what on the rendering, where that is and what that looks like.
Again, until we know the exact tenants that are going to be here, let's say it's a single tenant, there will be a door here, there will be a sign here. You know, I mean, that's going to be every goal. The goal of any retailer is going to be to make sure that they have a presence on Route 9, and we'll make sure that they have that. So yeah, it's right here, prominently in the middle. If there were three tenants, then each one of these would get their own door, which we'll follow up and make sure the details are consistent. Okay, so in the original package, there was a rendering of the pro shop, but we were testing you, and you guys found that we didn't have it elevated, so well done. Now we have it elevated and dimensioned and such. It's a basic building, same materials, heritage wall at the base, the wood siding above. Very, very simple building. It's kind of tucked away. Last thing I would want to mention is, you know, with the screening well, we talked about this before. I don't know if we need any further discussion about this. It's going to be an aluminum picket fence where you can see the fence, and then as it moves back into the brush, it's going to the black chain link, which in the summertime you won't see. In the wintertime you'll see very, very faintly. You can kind of see how the black disappears in this photograph here. But one thing we didn't update this drawing. Essentially around the pickleball courts, we're using a standard kind of pickleball fence system. It's 10 feet high. It accommodates both padel and pickle. And our landscape, you'll see on the landscape plans, a very dense line of evergreen trees in front on the Route 9 side. On the opposite side, we want customers of the facility to know that the courts are there, and we want some airflow in there and such. So The idea is that this will be completely screened from Route 9, and that'll be on the Route 9 side of that fence. So
Is
you
that
can-
shown on the landscape plan?
It is, yeah, the landscape,
Was it the L306 here?
yeah, it should be
Oh,
on
yeah,
that
it is.
first.
Bottom right.
Yeah, L302. It's the first page of the package I gave you tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't have the actual detail, but I see the layout you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a dense, we've talked to the landscape team, and that's the goal there, is to plant 15-foot evergreens there. Okay,
Thank you for that.
you got it.
Thanks, Chris.
I think that's enough. Good evening. I don't think we need to go over too much more detail on the sidewalk to the south. I think that's been pretty explicit, that we're incorporating 256 feet of sidewalk up to the CB district boundary line. With regards to the rear access, we took into account a number of comments that were made at the last board meeting. And what we've done is we've relocated the charging areas for the golf carts to the northern tier of our valet parking area, as we discussed at the last board meeting. We took those spaces that were impacted and we shifted those to the southern portion of the parking lot. This allows us to concentrate the utility locations for the EV chargers in both the valet and for the golf carts on the northern tier of the property. With regards to the construction of the rest of the roadway that we had shown that would be as an alternative for a potential connection, we've looked at what we currently have and determined what we're proposing in terms of the refuse areas and the pavement area that we're adding for fire truck are all movable objects. They're in no way going to impact the future connection for the adjoining parcel in the future. We also took a look at the length of the conduit and wiring for the compactor. We're actually going to reduce that length, so relocating that closer to the building won't be an impact for any future connection. And we think this gives some flexibility for the neighboring property in the event that we didn't hit their exact tie-in location on, right where they'd want it. So that could impact part of that retaining wall we talked about at the last meeting. So if they were to shift their driveway even 2 feet, it would impact how that wall is built. So we think this provides the flexibility necessary for future connection and accommodates the concerns that the board raised at this time. And we're hoping that you recognize we listen to your concerns.
Thank you.
I think we covered most of the issues. We tried to be expeditious. I know that's not it.
That you were.
That has not been used in our vocabulary before. Open to questions, issues. It was our sense that these were the critical or essential outstanding issues, and we obviously spent a good deal of time trying to be responsive. So
Thank you for that.
I hope we achieved it.
Yep. I want to thank you and the team, because I do feel that some of those extensive dialogues that we've been having the past few meetings, I feel that we're all getting much more in tune with what's going on the site and how it's interacting with Hyde Park. So thank you very much for, and it may ultimately help you, like you were saying, building in some flexibility means in the future things can maybe be managed much easier for whatever might come your way. We feel the expeditiousness. I currently have a pile about this big of all the submissions that have come in over the last month. So what we are committing to doing over the next 3 weeks is doing little work groups amongst ourselves to make sure we can tell where we were, what got addressed for the second submission you did on the 9th, and then now the most recent, so that we can kind of, with clarity, identify any areas that are still remaining. There may not be any at this point from a seeker perspective, or identify key questions that we might have that do relate to seeker, because we want to get the seeker part done as expeditiously as possible. It's my new favorite word, there you go. But I personally have not been able to sort through everything other than to hear that it sounds like a lot of our concerns have been addressed, but I personally need to roll up my sleeves, and I know some of us are going to be sitting and going from sheet to sheet to sheet and figuring out what's going on, and if there's any sandwiches missing, or if someone forgot to put mayonnaise on something.
Great, that sounds expeditious. As long as we're using the word.
So I'm not sure we
might
have
as
a
well
lot of
keep-
feedback other than maybe a lot of thanking you,
Okay.
you know.
I appreciate that. I would just maybe throw in or ask, again, without, I don't want to seem like we're pressing, but we are, there is a certain urgency to certain things, that I think most of the issues we've really been digging into are site plan issues. We really haven't heard a lot
Granted,
of
yes.
secret issues per se, sewer, water.
And what we're trying to do is kind of do this
picture. Right.
so we can differentiate between any potential seeker issues,
Okay.
identify them if there are any, and if there are none, get ready to prepare an amended seeker resolution.
If,
And then go back to the site plan
Okay.
and find out if there's any additional items
Okay.
there.
All right,
But
fine.
we're truly trying to hone in on that. The problem is you kind of have to look at both. For some of these big hitting items, you have to look at both and then go, okay, but now we're talking about site plan,
Understood.
we can push that off to the
Understood.
side.
Now, look, very much appreciate, we know there's a lot of information before you. We've tried to.
It's a lot.
We've tried to bring it incrementally and keep it as organized as we can, but thank you. And obviously, thank you, Stephanie. We will not see you again, and wish you all the best of luck, and appreciate all the time you spent on our project during your tenure, and good
I'll still be
advice and
watching.
guidance, so thank you.
Still be watching.
We
You're-
are the
you're
cure
allowed
for
to come to the-
insomnia.
You're allowed to come to the public hearings, though, right? And-
There you go. There you go.
Can't wait, right? First thing on your
Be
agenda.
careful.
Yeah, really.
All right, so
Okay.
look
Thank you.
forward. Yeah,
Excellent.
please, keep in touch if there's any information we can provide you in the interim, or answer any questions.
But I'm going to go
Yeah.
around and we're going to hear whatever comments people have. Like I said, I was only speaking personally for myself, that I don't have a lot because I haven't really dug in and seen where we stand. Ms. Moss?
So with the sheet that you provided today, it's much easier to see the articulation in the length of that building. It doesn't come out as far as the overhang, so can you define how wide that overhang is?
The overhang's going to be about it's going to be a 4-foot eave off of the building, and the bump
Oh.
outs are about 2 feet, so it does come out.
Okay.
That was an exercise, so
Okay.
that was perfect in that.
All right, that's good, because it wasn't clear on the prior drawings.
Understood.
And the lighting on the lighting plan shows that entire length with only 2.1 lumens?
On the north side of the building?
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured that
You
the
need to-
parking lot's going to have lighting
Oh.
in it. It's not ours, but
Okay.
it's the adjacent parking lot has
Okay.
code compliant lighting, so for
No,
us
it
it was
doesn't.
less about,
No,
Okay.
no, it doesn't, but that's okay.
yeah, okay.
There's that one in the back that's not right.
Right.
we
So
can
that's
talk to that.
good. And then the other thing, when you talked about the sign in the peak,
Yep,
you can't break an architectural line, and with those
mhm.
exposed timbers, that's going to be tough. On this one, it shows a wider section underneath. That
I
might
knew-
work for a sign, but you need
Yeah.
to work that out.
Understood. I assume you guys have some kind of signage criteria here
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll follow.
Just a little.
We will follow that perfectly. Yes.
You need to design the building so you can have a sign.
Understood.
Because we
I
have
understand.
some buildings that,
I got it.
And can I
understand.
tell you how valuable that comment is, and how many other places you might go and build a building and go, there's no
Can't
place
believe
to
what they
put a
did.
sign.
Yeah, I know.
So
I got you.
that is a very valuable insight.
the sign code is one of the longest and most difficult sections of our zoning code.
We will make sure we do it right.
Just a warning.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I had, that answered a lot of questions and some, anxiety about whether or not it was going to be able to be fixed. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Ms. Franson?
So we're in the process of doing the seeker review. Quick question for the valet parking, because it's going to be so much valet parking. Where do the people that are going to be parking the cars, are they actually going to be in that median entry area, or where in general, or is there a separate place for them?
You mean where the valet parking attendants going to be?
Yes.
I mean, most of the cars on the facility will be dropped off at the main
Right.
facility all the way up, and then the cars will come back and they'll be buggied back and forth with the internal cart system.
Okay.
So that's essentially it. I mean, we want people to come here and stay for the weekend and do everything kind of on campus, and visit the town, obviously. But I'm smart. Yeah.
Good job throwing that in there.
No, I got you. I'm with you. No, but to answer your question, yeah, I mean, the valet parking is an important part, obviously, of
Right.
the whole experience.
Right, and so it's just more a matter of where do the attendants?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be
be-
they're going to be in both places actually as they
Okay.
run cars, and there'll be a walkie-talkie system. I'm sure that, yeah.
And then I think I saw it in one of the plans, but over by the pickleball courts, there's seating area for people there, because people may have to wait for a court.
At the turnaround, there is.
I thought I saw something, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think the courts, there's a rule, you got to have a certain amount of space outside each of those courts, and we provide that. It's not on ours, but yes, I mean,
Okay.
the idea would be that it's not a spectator thing.
No,
For
it's
this-
more, they get there early and
Get
people are
their
still
spa-
on the
yeah,
court
yeah,
and they're
yeah,
hanging
for
out.
sure, yeah.
Part of the use of the,
Here you go.
part of the use of the shed that's going to be at the pickleball courts is for relaxation. There'll be a small, I want to say self-serve water station there in that building for people who are using the courts.
Okay. Yeah, just knowing my own community's pickleball courts, people hang out waiting for people to get off the courts and they're at the benches or whatever, so I was just curious. And then is there a detail for the wall that's going to be along the valet parking area along the westerly edge? There's a fence, I'm sorry, for that. So you have a bottom of wall 167, top of wall 170, but then at some point, the bottom of wall is 160, top of wall is 170, so you have a fence detail for that?
It's retaining. Yeah. That's going to be a retaining wall there. Our understanding was we were similar to the last approval, that retaining walls are provided as part of the building permit process throughout the course of construction. We assume that would be the same process as it was last time. So we haven't provided every retaining wall detail on our plan.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious about the fencing, if that was, because we will have to have a fence on the,
You'll
On
have
the
to
west
have a
side,
fen-
no,
Just
there
talking
won't
about
be
for
a
fall
fence.
protection.
Yeah, you'll have a
10-foot
fence in
wall.
front of it for fall protection.
For fall
Okay.
protection, yeah.
and so there's a detail for that, or you're saying there might not be?
You don't have that on your...
No, we're talking about the west
Yeah,
side, the
no-
side of it?
Yeah.
No, we don't have a detail
I
of that.
thought
We
there
can,
was a typical
we can add that.
showed-
yeah, that's,
Oh, I saw a
Yeah,
typical.
we can get the line type on the plan and then refer to a detail. One of your many fence types.
Thank you. Yes. And we'll continue to review it, thanks.
Thank you.
thanks.
Mr. Renia?
I guess the same for us. There's a lot of nuts and bolts to dig into here, and we're going to continue to do that with the new submissions now.
Great.
Thank you. Ms. Pitt?
Same, my office will be reviewing this and finalizing the seeker review, but I'm glad to see that permanent fixtures are not part of the permanent connection road. And that's a great addition to the plan.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Tuttle.
Hi, guys.
Hi, David.
A few things. Just, I don't know about anybody else. I find the fencing page confusing because there are so many different types of fencing, and a lot of them have almost the exact same color line underneath of them.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at the plan, everything's a pink or a red pretty much, and I have trouble telling
Okay.
what's actually supposed
I'm
to
so
be
glad I'm not the
what
only
through
one.
there.
Darker red was harsh to
Just
see.
do it type.
So I don't know if that could be amended in some way. What do you want to do before we meet next time, or whatever? But
Yeah, we can clarify that. Maybe we'll do
Or
a
maybe
type
put a
A.
dash
We'll do it-
line or
yeah.
something.
We'll do a key.
A little bit, a little
key,
bit.
something
Something
like
that's not
that. It seemed
color-coded.
like that you were trying to do a key with the colors here, but they're also similar that it was
Or
tough
even
to
just a
tell.
break in the line.
A letter key.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
understood. Okay, for sure.
I like the ranch rail. I think that's a really
Yeah.
nice way to go about it. As far as the fence around the pickleball courts, I don't, it's hard to tell with these things whether lights can be a problem until it's actually built. And so I appreciate the evergreen screening. I think that's probably the best solution. In terms of whether to cover the Route 9 side, I don't have a strong feeling you could do it right up front, or we could include a note on the plans that says, hey, if it's determined that lighting is a problem from Route 9, the board can ask for that to be, or the town can ask for that to be added. Either way would be fine with me, as long as we have some kind of recourse for if there is actually an issue with the lighting, we might take. The landscaping, some of my same questions kind of remain. And all I'm looking at is the 302 here, right? There's nothing in front of Coco's, and it's so, right,
Yeah,
so
there's low brush in the
is that
in the
what that's
setbacks.
telling me? Is that just
Yeah.
gonna be like
Yeah, just, yeah, right at the, right at,
Rhododendron.
rhododendron?
Rhododendron.
Okay,
yeah,
okay. I like rhododendron, all right.
okay.
And then in front of the dumpster area on the north side, I'm not sure what I'm looking at there. There's single stem trees, I guess. It's like you're showing me a 2-inch caliper,
Yeah.
single stem trees in
Yeah.
a single line through there. I think we mentioned last time, it's helpful to see what's going to be retained. And I know you've done an existing canopy to remain lying around, but it continues around the whole parking
Yeah.
lot there, which that's a
that's-
parking lot. That
Yeah.
doesn't have, that's not
We can
existing
stop.
canopy.
Yeah.
It would, in that location in particular, I think the existing canopy to remain is fine for the whole sort of, western edge along there. But in there, it would be helpful to have a more detailed look at what are you keeping, how much woods is actually still going to be there when you're done, if any,
Understood.
between the parking lot and where the dumpsters and such are.
Got it.
Just an update for the elevations. You've shown a door in front of Route 9 on the renderings, but they're not on the elevations that you provided us tonight.
No, they should be. Hang on, let me look. It was added to page,
So I'm looking at 2.13.
yeah, you're right. No, it should be up here. Okay, I got it. There was one, it's on the plan, I know, I saw it on one. But yes, we'll make sure that it gets on there.
Okay.
It should be here. got it.
And that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Dawn.
Mr. Waters.
No, thank you for listening. Thank you for working with the team to, get some of the suggestions out there, and then you implementing them too, your team. So thank you for that. I think the massing model actually is great because you can actually see scale that way a little bit easier without the color and the bright lights and stuff. And thank you for putting the elevation of the pro shop on there. And the little key showing the footprint, that helps. And everything else is, like I said, it's coming along. You're hitting the marks. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can I jump in with something I forgot?
Oh, okay.
Just to say, I like the building. I think it's the back building. I mean, and I like the simplicity of it. I think it's great. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
And thank you for explaining the penetrations and stuff like that. Until you know where things are, it's hard to show them on a drawing, because then when they're moved, we'll say, what happened to that, or something.
Understood. Yep.
Good point.
The explanation is good.
Thank you.
Ms. Wasser,
Yes, I want to echo.
give them all you got.
Here we go.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not going to respond. I do want to echo my colleagues' comments. I'm really appreciative of hearing us over the last three, especially the last three meetings, including the future cutout or connector, I should call it. Love the fencing and the materials on the pro shop. And, I think it's a great project. I'm just going to sum up and say I wish I was here to vote for it, when the final vote comes. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Those are nice comments. Mr. Oliver.
Thank you. I appreciate, you guys listening to us and making the changes you did, especially on the southern sidewalk. I think that's, really important. I like the landscape layout. Obviously, there's not much detail, but I like, the massing and how you've, laid everything out. And the mature species I see in there, I appreciate that. Obviously, I haven't done a thorough review and don't have much more to add for that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lee.
Great revisions. No other comments.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Well, I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a great job, and I'm excited. I'm looking at the connector. You listened. I mean, at least it's there, and if somebody wants to connect the two parcels, they can at some point without much heartache. Excited. I think every time you bring it back, it gets better.
Excellent.
I want to add, I should have said that too. It is beautiful, and the architecture is beautiful, and I think it's going to be so special.
Appreciate illegal. Don't ruin this, Michael.
That's it.
Please.
What do you think of the league? Men's and men's.
So I think you've gotten some.
This is great.
Yep.
This was great. How do you want us, there's probably about 4 or 5 pages I'm hearing that.
So
you would want-
here's what
we
we
don't
like.
want to
Here's what
trigger
we like to do.
another. Go ahead.
Is we do like to go through and create comment letters that go through in detail everything from seeker to site plan. We will be focusing on seeker, but at the same time, like I said, so what we generally do is you will be receiving comment letters from our consultants. So you'll get legal, you'll get engineering, and you'll get the planning, and anything that Tad has, of course.
Okay.
So then that helps us to identify any open issues. If there are any, how do we close them? Do they become a condition of something? Can we close them now? So it's what we always do.
We did before.
It's what we always do.
How do you want us, there's probably about, now we've given you that final, all those papers, there's probably about 4 or 5 sheets now that I heard tonight need to be tweaked some.
Good question.
Yeah, so
Good question.
how do you want those delivered without setting it off?
The problem is I don't know if I want to say, yes, go modify them and send them to us if there's other things that, I want to kind of get out of a pickleball game here.
Yeah, that would get too confusing.
Yeah, so I think, let us go through the stack. It could be that it's just, those items on some of those pages, but
Yeah.
just, I would say,
I think they're all manageable, and I think we can incorporate them into our responses with the
Yes.
comments we receive.
yes, but I don't think any new materials are needed at this point. It would-
Thank you.
It's a
No
little,
new materials
it's a
are
little
needed, is
confusing
what
at this
you're
point,
saying.
so
Merry
Perfect.
Christmas.
That's,
Yes.
it's easier
Yes,
for us.
take a breather. Again,
make
your
it easier.
responsiveness and again, poor Lou sitting on the phone in Europe must have been going, oh. I hope you had a good day the next day.
Thank you.
So, our question, and I would just like to ask, is there anybody in the public who would like to comment on this application? Okay, there being none, the question is to you for the public hearing. Would you like to adjourn it to the 7th or the 21st?
7th probably, in
'Cause-
case there's any issues. I mean, we're hoping.
I know you like the
obviously,
write-up, so I mean, you know.
We'll get determination soon, so.
Okay,
But again.
We're
if-
happy to do that.
And I know you've done it before, and if there's anything that needs to be discussed.
we
and so,
don't wait, as you
please
know.
reach out
We
to
try,
us.
we're having open dialogues with you
Good.
constantly,
know.
so, yeah,
Good.
no worries.
All right, perfect.
So then can I get a motion to adjourn?
Can we
the-
discuss that a little bit, the 7th
Sure.
versus the 21st? Just
Sure.
in terms of, I want to make sure we're going to make progress on the 7th is all. Like, so because we have letters that need to come from consultants, and it's obviously the holidays, and responses after that. I just, is it worth your time? I just want to make sure it's worth your time to be
Right, 'cause-
showing up on the 7th if there's.
And you make an excellent point, because sometimes what we do is, maybe we can do a workshop on the 7th if there's any questions, and we do the public hearing on the 21st, and we should have everything wrapped up,
That'd be
at
perfect.
least for a seeker perspective, and then, who knows?
It'd be perfect. Let's make it a work.
Want to do that?
Let's make it a work session.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right, then can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing to January 21st?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, excellent.
Everyone, please have a happy holiday.
Thank you.
Yes,
Happy
thank you.
holidays.
Stephanie, thank you
And we'll see you in
for
2026.
your input on this process. It's been greatly appreciated, not only for this, but for all the others in
We
the
want this to be a
community.
winner.
And you've enhanced a number of projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Safe trip
holidays,
home.
everybody.
Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you.
Yes, very nice. What?
Yeah, thank you.
Night.
Our next item on the agenda is another continued public hearing. This one is for the Belfield Sterling PUD Phase 2 FDP Lot 8. Rolls off the tongue.
I poked fun at Jared and Larry a few meetings ago for dressing the same. And now. They're-
Friday night. Why isn't there and Tom did too. There were like 5 of them without the money. It was really T-Rex.
Oh, T-Rex.
See, it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
It's the new company uniform, huh?
Oh, nice, there we go. Yeah.
Ah,
Moral support in the back there.
so cute.
You sure
Excellent.
you don't want to come up?
All right, welcome, gentlemen.
Jennifer, you
May I get a motion to open the public hearing, reopen the public
So
hearing?
moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Welcome. Jennifer, where's your sweater?
I know, where's your sweater? Yeah, that was my question.
It's in the trailer.
Okay, all right, all right.
We have it. Thank you for having us again tonight. Thank you for all the hard work to get to this evening. Didn't think we can get there, but with all the support from the board, we got there, and I want to thank everybody for
I
getting
would
us.
like to say it is an excellent team. I mean, everybody here is just, they go above and beyond.
Yeah,
I'm-
and it was,
I couldn't ask for better people to work with.
yeah, it's been wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank everybody. So the whole team is here tonight. In addition, Sterling Wayne Zuckerman is here tonight, and he'll introduce himself.
Hi, good evening and happy holidays. I just want to know, how do you get one of the cakes before I leave tonight?
You have to work.
That's right, you do.
Yeah,
Work for free,
You're supposed to say, see
Yeah,
me,
you have
see
to
me
work
after
for
the
free.
meeting.
You have to put in lots and lots of hours and never get paid.
Well, thank you for listening. Wayne Zuckerman, Sterling Properties, based out of New Jersey. One thing for sure, we are not having valet parking, so just want to make that clear. But we're excited for the project. It's something that we can see in Hyde Park being in conjunction with the culinary and having the great architecture and the great vibe. And for the last 20 years, although we're based in New Jersey, but we own quite a bit of inventory in Wappingers Falls. I did a little bit of business up in the city of Poughkeepsie. And again, to come up to this part of Dutchess, we're really excited. There's a lot of good things happening, I'll say, along Route 9, so we can't forget that. So if there's any other questions, you can, I want to let the rest of the team continue, but I'm introducing myself. Thank you.
Well, welcome.
Thank you, welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Wayne. We got the resolutions today. The whole team reviewed it.
Were you able to read them all?
38 comments. Thank you very much. They generally fall within a couple of main buckets, of course. DOH approval, finalizing the SWIP. I think Chris made some great progress on that. Getting the plat filed. We're scheduled to get that filed the first, second week in January. Answering the fire chief's, comments. We worked with him on 3 phone calls, and as a result of that, he issued the comments, so we're aware of what they are. Landscaping plan, finalizing that, and then the comments are, the significant amount of the comments are site plan related, and so we'll address all of that. I did want to ask on the landscape comment 30, or number 33, it does ask that the revised landscape plans be submitted to the planning board for approval. So I'm asking if we could do that in an offline submittal, so I'll meet with board members and have it more.
Oh,
intimate.
yeah. I mean, some of these conditions, that's the only way to resolve some of them.
No,
Right?
no, you'd have to be clear, in order
Oh, I'm
for it to
sorry.
have planning board approval. No, sorry, Ann. The way it's written now, I'm not saying that it couldn't be written that way, but the way it's written right now requires a motion, because if a couple members meet, that's not planning board approval. But if you,
No, but they would come up with the plan of how to address this.
but it would still have to be a motion at a meeting.
Yep. Yeah, when we do offline meetings, we never meet in quorum.
Yeah, exactly.
So we basically flesh things out and then come up with, okay, here's what we think could work, and then we bring it
Understood.
here. So a lot of these conditions we'll be talking about.
Agreed.
This becomes a working document as we work through all these conditions. They can't go off and do these all by yourself, and
Yeah, a
so
lot of the conditions.
we're happy to meet at any time
Yeah,
with
a
whoever you
lot of
want.
the conditions are, staff's approval, Pete's approval, that kind of
A
thing.
lot of them are tied to building permits. It's, some of them you can't even.
So I was asking if the landscape could be a staff approval or
staff
offline
approval.
meeting.
Oh, you mean like to the satisfaction of the zoning
Yeah,
administrator? Oh.
Instead of hitting a deadline to get it in, and then getting in the queue. If not,
I'm kind of.
It's also, since we lack a lot of landscaping, I would argue that there's a lot of discretion that you're leaving to consultants, that I don't, we'd have to ask if they'd feel comfortable. But that's also a reason not to put it on the consultants, because otherwise, if you're not clear on, there's a lot of things that need to be added, and it's not clear what would need to be done without board input.
Yeah.
And what normally happens, much of it is reviewed by Tad, and Tad doesn't feel comfortable being the one to sign off.
Agreed.
So
No,
I think,
yeah.
and I think that it can all be fleshed out with Tad and whomever.
Yep.
But it sounds like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
What would be the actual approval that we would be, so we're closing a public hearing, we are, approving with conditions, and then you're coming back to us.
Right.
For what exact, is it an amended site plan? Like, what's the approval that we're
No,
actually
so
issuing?
it's a landscaping plan. So like, for example, originally, we'd condition things on sign plan, right? For example, we had them submit a sign plan separately. So all this gives them tonight is conditional approval, and you won't get that signed until you approve by motion their landscaping plan to then be integrated into the larger site plan set for signature.
And I believe we've done this before.
Yeah, we have done
You
it
have,
before.
yeah.
I think it's to meet the condition, Dylan.
Yeah.
Yes.
That you're meeting, your motion would
Okay.
be that it meets.
It meets
Is
the
there,
condition.
I'm just
Yes.
curious,
No,
did it
no
for-
problem, it's just, then we
You
have
could
to
do it
hit
by
the queue
resolution, too, just
for getting on the
It
meeting.
doesn't- it could be by
You have to
resolution
Like
or
2 weeks
motion.
before, and you hit the.
What queue? You've been on every meeting.
we reserve a spot for you.
You have a cot in the room over there.
Next year, you might have a parking spot.
Very well, so.
That was the wrong angle.
And Larry, just for any of these that need to be worked out,
Yeah,
whether it's,
yeah. It's gonna
we
be
can
worked.
do offline meetings, come back with a solution
It's not.
that the planning board can then approve.
Yeah, so we'll look to submit the landscape plan. We can't hit the 23rd for the 7th. It'll have to be first of the year. We'll get it in, and we'll review it on the 7th.
Well, some of these are going to take a bit to work through,
Yeah,
so.
no, I'm speaking specifically to the landscaping plan.
Yeah.
Because we want to get your buy-in, get everybody, okay with it.
We're happy to meet as soon as you want,
Okay.
when people are available.
I don't think there's a rush, right?
Okay, other
No.
than that, we're all set.
Yep.
Jennifer, is there anything?
Oh, that was your only question? Wow.
You have water?
He had all day
He
to
does.
go
He's
through
been,
it, so-
he's been hydrating all day. We have cough drops.
He's into the landscaping, that's the thing. That's his niche.
I know you are. So no other questions on the resolutions?
Yes.
Again, the team is phenomenal, and also your inputs and responses have helped to, to take this huge mass of conditions and basically start to group them, and then it becomes, like I said, this becomes a working document for us that helps everybody to get this project done. Okay. Ms. Moss, any comments before we get ready to read?
It's a really long resolution.
It is 6 pages.
Too many conditions, but I don't get a vote.
Yes, no, I know. We're in a new era. I mean, we had another project this year that also had pages and pages of conditions. These projects are getting bigger and bigger. It's hard to have a project.
So it goes off of your agenda and on to our desks.
I know.
In addition to all the other things that
I
you
know,
have.
I know.
So it's-
So in
it's
the new
very
year,
hard
we
to
ask for more
manage
help
that.
here at Town Hall, really. That would be a wonderful present to have, because everybody's stretched, yes. Understood, understood. Ms. Franson?
Our comments have been embedded into the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Renia?
Moving forward, when we get the revised stormwater plans, we have a lot more detail we want to get on that, because this is at kind of the bottom of the hill.
Yep.
So we want to
Yes.
ensure that everything from the top of the hill is going to be able to make its way through this system as well, too. So we want to, we'll have some detailed comments on that we need addressed.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bitt?
Yeah, so a lot of the conditions also address the fire department concerns, so
Yeah.
those are added, but the fire department is not a permitting authority, so it's left to the engineer and the planner, as well as Tad, to review.
Right.
But they have been addressed in the resolution.
Right, and we always try to keep our fire departments happy. But thank you, yes, I saw all those, I saw the, Mr. Nichols' comments, 2 pages worth, summarized and put into the various groups of comments, so thank you for working with them. You know, I think they realized when this came through that how real this is.
Yeah.
So this is major progress. Thank you for working all those hours with them.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tuttle?
I want to echo Tad's discomfort with the number of conditions on this. I'm not looking to be an 11th hour stop here. We're all excited about this project. We all want it to move forward. So I will be voting for this. But if we get another resolution with this many, I probably won't. It needs to be, I understand that the projects are getting bigger and they are getting more complicated. That means they take more time in front of us. It's not fair to staff to have this many conditions. So while we can move forward with this one, I would like to see us take a much harder look at the number of conditions we have on projects when we approve them.
Understood. No, excellent comment. Mr. Waters?
Echo that. I had talked to Victoria early this morning with my concerns with certain little things, and they seem to have made it to paper. So that's fine. And, you know, although I know it's a lot, we're also trying to, I guess, accommodate to a point. And that sometimes could be tricky, because then where does that stop? So in the future, you know, probably, like Dylan said, probably not as many maybe, but in this case, I won't be objecting to paper.
No, thank you for bringing that up. Ms. Wasser?
Yeah, valid points. I mean, we've never seen one like this, but I also know that you need this vote to move forward with financing and other commitments and tenants and contractors. Like, you need to move forward. So I understand why you need the vote in the timing that you need it. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add, except can't wait to see it start.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Oliver?
I will, too, echo my colleagues. I think, although I do believe a lot of them are, you know, just clean up things on paper, and it does look a lot bigger with all of them listed out, and I understand and respect why we're doing it, support it, and think it's a great project, and I'm very thankful for all the revisions that we made to get to where we are, and I'm looking forward to some forward progress in 2026.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lee?
Thank you, everyone, for working on this resolution and this long list of conditions. We appreciate you so much.
Yes.
And without you, we would be nothing.
Yes.
No other comment.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia?
I was just going to say, I mean, it depends on the conditions.
Can you pull the...
I was just going to say it depends on the type of conditions. I think that's what Chris was echoing. I mean, there's some conditions that I think the consultants have to look at, and then there's some that are just being cleaned up. I think it's maybe the condition, depends on the intensity or the need for the condition, whether it should be in the resolution, you know, whether we should vote on it or not. I mean, but with that being said, you know, I think it's a great project, and I mean, sometimes you need the experts to look at this stuff because it's beyond us. So, great project, though.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to ask if there's anybody in the audience who would like to speak to this application. There being none, I would also like to echo my colleagues and consultants' comments. And Tad, if there's anything we can do to help you, just let us know. Seriously, happy to come in, have little work sessions with you, whatever we can do, because we really appreciate everything that you do for us, keeping us focused. So with that being said, may I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we do have a resolution prepared tonight. You might want to go get some coffee and some popcorn and sit back and... Go ahead.
Resolution to grant amended final development plan and conditional site plan approval, Bellafield Final Development Plan, Phase 2B, Sterling Apartments, Site Plan, Lot 8, Resolution Number 2025-54B. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the site plan set and authorizes the chair or her authorized designee to sign the site plan set after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees in escrow. 2, proof of filing of the Lot 8 subdivision plat with the Dutchess County Clerk. 3, revision of the zoning table on the cover sheet to include Lot 4A and correct the dimensions of Lot 4 to match the Lot 8 subdivision plat. 4, revision of the site plan set to include sheet numbering at the bottom of each sheet, i.e. 1 of 34, 2 of 34, etc. 5, revision of the site plan set sheet C120 to provide an inset showing the extent of the limits of disturbance on sheet 3. 6, revision of the site plan set to include an overall plan for Phase 2B with the notation that the existing square footage allocated to buildings 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, and 1,500 in the March 15, 2023 plan set is maintained, including a note designating such space as an undesignated space use to be determined at a future time. 7, Dutchess County Department of Health approval of all water and sewer lines. 8, approval of the Planning Board Engineer and Stormwater Management Officer of the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. 9, revision of the site plan set to include the revisions of the rear area of the building and adjoining southern parking lot to address fire access and the provision of a fire apparatus access road to the satisfaction of the Planning Board Engineer upon approval of the layout by the Planning Board Engineer. All site plan set sheets shall be updated accordingly. 10, revision of the site plan set to depict all crosswalks, sidewalks, and connections and to add pedestrian crossing signs at several crosswalks facing the direction of traffic flow to the satisfaction of the Planning Board Engineer. 11, revision of the site plan set to include all standard roundabout signage to the satisfaction of the Planning Board Engineer. 12, revision of the site plan set to include all details for maintenance access for stormwater basins 13P, 14P, and hydrodynamic separators to the satisfaction of the Planning Board Engineer. Any required maintenance agreement shall be reviewed and approved by the Planning Board Attorney and Planning Board Engineer. 13, revision of the site plan set to include details of the roof leader connections and the courtyard drainage systems. 14, revision of the site plan set DWG 140 to reference the stormwater details on DWG C546 and applicable notes on G0002. 15, revision of the site plan set to include a note in the materials storage area indicating that a detailed staging and storage plan and construction phasing plan shall be developed by the applicant once contractors are retained. The construction phasing plan shall indicate disturbances in each phase and proposed erosion control measures. The overall disturbed area for the building itself is 7 acres, and the maximum overall disturbance area allowed is 10 acres. The plan shall be submitted to the town for review prior to the pre-construction meeting. 16, revision of the site plan set to clarify and detail the existing Route 9 culverts that will receive drainage flow from the project. 17, revision of the site plan set to include additional drainage catch basins in the roundabout as needed to the satisfaction of the Planning Board Engineer. 18, revision of the site plan set sheets C140 and C530 to include a note indicating that retaining walls over 4 feet shall be designed by a New York State licensed engineer and submitted with the building permit plans. 19, revision of C150 to reference the details on DWG C550 and applicable notes on G002. 20, revision of C160 to reference the details of drawing C541 and the applicable notes on G002. 21, revision of C160 to indicate pipe sizes and the design storm for which the pipes are sized. 22, approval of the emergency vehicle access plan by the Roosevelt Fire District and the Planning Board Engineer. 23, revision of the site plan set sheet 530 to include street cross sections detailing travel lanes, parking, pavement sections, curbs, sidewalks, and landscaped areas. 24, review of by the Planning Board Engineer of the geotechnical investigation for the purpose of ensuring the blasting protocol is appropriate for the site and if necessary to resubmit with the blasting protocol with required adjustments. 25, revision of the site plan set sheet G001 to include the Lot 8 requirements in the table to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator and planner. 26, revision of the site plan set sheet G001 to include a basis for the parking calculation and correct the bedroom counts to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator and planner. 27, approval of the blasting notes on sheet G002 by the Planning Board Engineer. 28, revision of the site plan set sheet C130 to include the following details to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator and planner. A, location of all EV parking. B, design of the drop-off area including pavers and parking space configuration. C, location of the trail behind the building unless it is located outside of Lot 8. D, location and design of the trash compactors. 8, confirmation of the total number of parking spaces and correction of any inconsistencies with sheet C01. F, a key or note indicating what G and T stand for in the northern parking lot. 29, revision of sheet 180 to reduce the maximum foot candles to no more than 5 foot candles, which appears on the LPB fixtures in the southerly parking lot, and provisions of details for all luminaries to the satisfaction of the zoning administrator and planner. 30, revision of the site plan set to include the location of alternate signage. 31, revision of the site plan set sheet A-01 to include a dimension for the width of parking spaces. 32, revision of the site plan set sheet G-01 to include a note 3 stating there shall be no substitutions without planning board approval. All dead and dying materials shall be replaced in kind. Landscaping shall be maintained for the life of the use. 33, revision of the landscaping plans to 1, address all areas not identified for any vegetative materials such as easterly sloped areas of the lot. 2, include quantities of all landscape plantings and identify all plantings that will be within the public realm. Example, the roundabout, street trees, plantings within parking areas, etc. The revised landscaping plan shall be submitted to the planning board for its approval. 34, revision of arterial sheet G001 to remove notes about New Jersey Department of Transportation. 35, revision of the site plan set to include the following details to the satisfaction of zoning administrator, planner, and planning board engineer to include the following details. A, an auto turn map on a layer that includes street poles and lights for the vehicle specifications provided by the Roosevelt Fire District in its letter dated December 12, 2025. B, details on the installation of a photovoltaic and battery energy systems on site as well as locations of all EV charging stations. C, details on all refuse control, such as trash chute and associated dumpster locations. D, location of all fire hydrants, FDCs, and PIVs. E, revision of the main roadway in front of the building to include an adequately sized turnaround. 36, revision of the site plan set to include grading around the city winery dumpsters to the satisfaction of the planning board engineer. 37, revision of the site plan set sheet C540 to add the fixture details for LP-A, LP-B, and LPG. 38, coordinate final stormwater practices in the approved SWIP with their details and locations shown on the final plan set, including but not limited to planter boxes, velocity reduction details for roof leaders, perimeter sand filters, and bioretention grades to the satisfaction of the planning board engineer and zoning administrator. Be it further resolved that prior to the zoning administrator authorizing issuance of a building permit or the issuance of a building permit by any town agent, the applicant shall provide letters from the building inspector and the Roosevelt Fire District confirming that the following items have been addressed on the building permit plans. A, details for emergency power, such as generators, etc., in and outside any buildings. B, details on emergency radio responder coverage for the site. C, details on the location of residential building elevators and their proximity to moving and service truck parking areas. D, description of the fire protection system for the building. E, description of the sprinkler and standpipe system coverages and layout within the parking garage. F, the layout of rooftop mechanical equipment, including HVAC and elevator rooms and access to such. G, description of the vertical circulation components of the building and how they interface with the parking garage. H, description of the method for providing mechanical smoke management systems in the parking garage. I, fire safety analysis and proper protection systems for the outdoor amenity decks and green roofs and identification of the access paths to each. J, identification of locations of stretcher compliant elevators in the building. Be it further resolved that approval of signage is not included in this approval and the applicant shall return to the planning board for approval of all signage, including as needed an updated sign design manual.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
And Ms. Van Tile. Enjoy your evening.
Happy holiday.
Yes.
Thank you, happy holidays.
Pleasure to meet you. Y'all get to hear. You heard. What do you hear? It takes work to get the cake.
Yeah, or something.
Sweaters are worth it.
I like the symmetry of the cakes. We got green, red, red,
I know.
green, red, red, green.
Yep.
Good night.
Merry Christmas.
Oh. Excellent job. That was actually. We are now out of public hearings, and we have a workshop with the Cardinal Used Auto Parts.
Good evening.
Good evening. We're just gonna wait for everything to get set up.
I missed it earlier, too. I was
Down the road.
As we close the doors so that we can hear.
So they say.
Good evening, Board. I'm
Good
going to second all the kudos that you've gotten from the coworkers and peers over tonight. We really appreciate your assistance in putting this application together and seeing us for this workshop tonight. My name is Kyle Bardwell. I'm a civil engineer from the LaBella Associates, accompanied by Caitlin Groskoff, another engineer at LaBella. Also by my side tonight are Ramon Leite and Paulo Ray Frank, representatives from 191 to 193 Cardinal Road, LLC.
You were before us before, right, Ramon?
Yes.
Yes, I remember you. And feel free to pull the, that one microphone up so that you're answered, should you need to speak.
All right.
So we are here to present on our application seeking site plan and special use permit approval. We'll be also seeking approval for variance of accessory structure height. To provide some history, the 21.8 acre scrapyard property located at 191 to 193 Cardinal Road has been in operation since 1970. In 2021, LaBella, formerly the Chazen Companies, worked with the applicant to receive site plan and special use permit. That engineer from LaBella no longer works there, and so tonight I'll be taking over the application and our representatives. In 2025, LaBella was brought in to assist in aiding the owner in addressing violations from the town of Hyde Park. The violations were new structures, 3 canopy structures on top of concrete pads, and spread asphalt millings around the site. In addition, there was also a violation related to sediment-laden runoff from the site. Following that, LaBella prepared an interim erosion and sediment control plan to kind of attack this aspect of sediment-laden runoff. And we prepared and submitted that to the town, and now we have put together a full site plan set that has been submitted in preparation for tonight's workshop. That includes a site plan, a demolition plan, and further detailed erosion and sediment control plan. It's important to note that these violations related to the structures and improvements on site were not malicious, and they were actually to address comments from the New York State DEC in relation to the owner's multi-sector speedies permit. The DEC has requested that the owner put structures for some of the operations on site. It would be good to have a canopy over some of these operations to prevent fluids and others from running off in rainstorms, as well as having a collection system with a concrete pad. So it's important to note that these weren't, improvements at the owner. They were at the request of the DEC. And we are now actively looking for approval for these structures. In the submitted plan set, you will see we have denoted areas of asphalt millings that were spread on the site to be removed to be in conformance with the 21 site plan approval that we received from the town of Hyde Park. We also are making some adjustments to bring back the vegetated buffer that was required and approved in the 2021 site plan. Following the 2021 site plan, we are also now proposing major improvements to the stormwater runoff on the site. So now we have a erosion sediment control plan that has swales that will be collecting runoff coming to the site, going to large, adequately sized sediment basins prior to discharge. We've further added some detail related to tracking pads and swales that would catch runoff before entering the town road. With that, we're here for a workshop tonight. We're looking to hear comments from the town. We'll take those into consideration, and we're looking to hear some feedback on next steps in getting in front of an actual planning board meeting. With that, we appreciate your time and are looking forward to hearing your comments, and we can respond how we can, and we'll respond for a formal submittal as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that excellent overview. As many of us, not all of us, but many of us remember when, I think it was the middle of COVID, and we were so happy to get a lovely, it was a beautiful day.
Outdoor.
Oh, it was so nice to be outside and be with our colleagues, and we walked all over the site. So we are very familiar, but we have new people on the board who have not been on there. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is a site visit, just to see how things have changed. But I'm going to go over to Tad, because I'm sure you can explain to us about violations and...
Still recovering from sliding.
Where to start? It's been my understanding that the stormwater portion is covered under the multi-sector permit. I don't know how that works. I just want to keep the water off of the town road, the sediment-laden water off of the town road at this point. I'll probably need to do some more communication and maybe have you facilitate some communication with the multi-sector person, so I can better understand that.
And can you just, because, again, this might be new for some of the members of the board, when we talk about this type of business, Town of Hyde Park does have some say in how things are done, but there are other agencies for which you must respond to all the time. So the multi-sector permit is part of that, correct?
Yes.
Where we might normally oversee things, another agency is overseeing it.
Yes.
Is that the DEC?
It's the DEC, and that's the theory. I don't know, when that came into effect. I don't know if they did stormwater when they had their original permit, probably before the Clean Water Act, so that's probably not.
Right.
So
it adds a layer of complexity
to
because we're not just looking at it from our lens. There are these other agencies that we must work with, as you guys have to work with.
And, as you may or may not know, the neighbors have been going to the town board. They're concerned about various aspects of the project that the neighbors believe are impacting their safety and their neighborhood, changing the quality of their neighborhood. And I believe those are the 5 factors, I think, in your special use permit that you'll have to consider. Many of them are not particularly related to zoning, but it's a use that's been there.
Right. And
may not have been operated in this fashion that it currently is. Businesses change. They adapt, they look for opportunities, and I think
they try to stay in business, right?
Yeah, they try to stay in business. And
so this is the third salvage yard that has been before us, so the board as a whole has gotten a lot of different experience with these sites, and they're all different. They're all different. The focuses are all different. The neighborhoods are all different. So we work with you to figure out.
One of the stickling points was that the structures that are being built are more like a hoop house or a tent cover, and it was unclear whether or not the building code would look at them as temporary structures and they would have to be removed after so many days, or if they in fact could be certified. And I gather you found someone that will be able to certify them to New York State Building Code standards. So I'm guessing that's what I heard from our building inspector anyway.
Okay.
That was the expectation.
Okay. We haven't had that yet. That's a new one.
That's all for now.
Okay. Thank you for that overview. Ms. Franson?
So just some initial comments. Hours of operation, the construction hours of operation. It didn't seem like there would be a lot of construction, and you had it extending Saturdays, Sundays, and into holidays. So I would just look at that. I don't know that that's necessary. In terms of where you're going to remove the millings, I think we'll want to see some details in terms of putting proper soil so that the vegetation can successfully be reestablished in those areas. So if the details aren't there, we'd like to see that. I also think that for this iteration, kind of like one of our other scrap yards, that somehow you demarcate the 50-foot buffer, because our experience has been that there's creep and cars end up being in the buffer. So whether it's large boulders or something to show you're not supposed to go beyond this, it's a buffer. You know, I don't know that you're going to have a fence, but something to keep you from getting into that buffer area. There's narrative in the EAF about vehicular trips, and it talks about ITE standards, but the reality is this is an operation, I believe. So really, I think there should just be a trip counter or traffic counter or something where you get what the real trips are and when they're coming in, and get a sense of the operations, because it exists. This isn't some proposed facility. I think there's a question, how far do we go with the review of this application? So we've been hearing that the property owners around there are concerned about noise and other emissions from the site. And I don't know, is that part of this, or because it's already established, or focused more on other aspects of the operation? So I think that's just a general question. In terms of the tents, to me, given that you're not going anywhere, you're going to be here for a while, tents seem somewhat impermanent to me, that can fall apart, maybe not provide the, whatever it is that you need to operate properly. So I guess from a code perspective, if it's allowed, I don't know why you wouldn't do something that's a little more permanent than some big tent over it. So just a consideration. And then lastly, where you're showing some of this stormwater management improvements are in the 50-foot buffer. And so if the point is to keep the buffer as vegetation, I don't know that, unless these are heavily landscaped, I don't know that this satisfies preserving the 50-foot buffer. So those are my initial comments.
Excellent, thank you. Mr. Renia?
Just to give you a little background on the multi-sector, just think of it as another layer on top of stormwater. It goes above and beyond for industrial users. So if you're, depending on your use category, DEC will say you need a multi-sector permit, so that's why they need this for what they're doing on site. And it looks at more than just stormwater runoff, it looks at what they're storing on site. So I understand, depending on what they're doing with certain fluids, with the vehicles and that sort of thing, it's easier for them to cover it and it's safer. Otherwise, that they would have to capture that runoff and then treat it. Say if there's other fluids in it other than just, say oils are easier to get, but certain other chemicals, we really don't want them to get into the water. So it probably would be good to work with them on some sort of a structure. And then when it comes to the fabric structures, there's tents and then there's true fabric structures. So there are certain structures that are rated, they're fabric covered. They're used for a lot of things. So they're used for recreational, they're used for industrial users, they can be used for storage. So I would think that if you can submit something to the board as to what this structure is, because there's a big difference between the type of structures, and then like say the fabric material, what's it rated for, how many years? So I would recommend to the board that you're looking at something that's more of a long-term fabric, not something that's going to get ratty, say, in 5 years. You're probably going to want something that's going to last 20 or 25 years. So those are some of our initial comments.
Excellent, thank you. Ms. Bitten?
Yeah, so on the procedural of like where we're at and how far does the review go? So I have not spoken to know, like, to give a definitive of whether it's expired of the permit or whether it's been revoked. So I'm not 100% sure on that. But typically the process is if you've made changes to your special use permit, you've now triggered a full review. But if it's never been revoked, it's not the same as a yes or no, rather it's more of an amendment, and they're still allowed to operate legally during that continuation so long as their junkyard license has not been revoked and they have ceased, ceased whatever the violation was, whatever the violations were. So however, this does trigger a special permit review with additional conditions because they're adding structures. It's going to reopen up the site plan and special permit review, but they are vested and they haven't ceased operation. So it is a review, but it's not going to cease their operation, and you are allowed to add additional conditions or change the site plan. You can look at things like hours of operation, anything that was previously reviewed under the special use permit is now reopened for review. Understanding, though, that they have a vested right to continue to review so long as it's never been revoked and their junkyard license has never been revoked.
Has not been revoked.
Yeah, yes. But I didn't know, so I want to speak to it.
Thank you for that explanation. Mr. Tuttle?
Okay. I have not had a chance to fully dive in on this one, so forgive my sort of comments here are gonna betray a lack of understanding about a few things, but bear with me. Certainly businesses change and adapt within parameters, which is what our special permit in particular in this case is there for. It seems clear that the nature of the business has evolved in the last 4 years here. You can tell just by looking at the aerials of it. There's not as many cars as there used to be. Some things have changed. And then we need to get a sense of to what extent they've changed and what the impacts of that are. I'm really sensitive to the noise, and I think my primary interest off the bat is what's the source of the noise, and are there ways to mitigate that? We worked with on a salvage yard last year where we talked a lot about the car crusher and the timing of it, and
whether it comes in or goes out.
When it comes in, when it comes out, then there's trucks, and there's various things that we can look at and try to mitigate here as much as possible. There are established residences that are near this, and this is a long established use, but if it's changed, the residences are there, and it has to be sensitive to those existing residences. So I know that's all I'll say to start out with here is just we need to get a handle on what the concerns are and how we can work within the special permit to try to mitigate that as best as possible. Awesome.
Excellent comments. Mr. Waters?
Yes, my concerns are the same regarding glare, vibration, sound, things of that nature. Also, Mr. Renier spoke about the tenting structure. What's the burn rate on, the hours of that? What is the fire suppression that is housed in those? I believe there must be something like that needed. And if these are limited to X amount of years, like Mr. Renier said, it might be better to make it a structure that you wouldn't have to maintenance as often or could create a real problem somewhere down the line if you get close to that expiration time. So that's all I have for right now. But besides hearing some of the comments regarding noise, glare, these are things that come up with salvage stuff. We hear it all the time. The neighbors, possible complaints. You obviously you want to be a good neighbor because it's easier to be a good neighbor than a bad one. So that's the thing. So that's really my comments for now. Until I take a site walk or something, I'm new to it. I have never been on your site, so I don't know what it's like. The comment about like riot blocks or something like that, for control of so you don't go into that, leach into that buffer zones. There's those concrete blocks of that you can put up and space them, and maybe trees and stuff. They call them riot. I think they call them riot blocks or something. But anyway, that's what I was. That's all I have for right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Wasser.
I think everyone here has made some great comments. I'm not going to add anything to it this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Oliver.
So obviously I haven't been able to do a full review, but I do have a few comments regarding the site, and I think it's crucial we take this opportunity to really review the special use permit and what's going on. I think a site walk is absolutely necessary, but I will add that my brother does live on Cardinal Road, and I have spent lots of time at his house and on his road traveling to and from. And also, I've reviewed, this is now, I believe, the third salvage yard while being on this board. And my understanding of a salvage yard is that once a month or once every 2 weeks, a crusher will come in, or there'll be a crusher on site and take off, the crushed cars. My experience from being at my brother's house is that this traffic is virtually daily. With these tractor trailers, the crusher, I can hear the crusher running from his house while working outside doing things over what we're doing. I hear that noise. So I can't imagine what the neighbors must go through. I would also like to state that I don't necessarily believe that this is quote unquote the salvage yard that we are used to reviewing. I think it's more of an industrial vehicle disassembly yard, not the place that at least my vision of a salvage yard is, you go there, you bring a junk car, maybe they pull parts off of it, and there's a bunch of cars laying around.
The pick and pull.
Yes, I don't think that's what's going on anymore. So I do feel that the use has definitely changed since we saw you in 2021. Those are my comments, and I'm looking forward to a site visit.
Thank you. Ms. Lee.
Hi, guys. Good evening. I, too, am new to the board, so I don't know your site as well as I should. So I'm really looking forward to a site visit. That being said, Tad had mentioned that there's already been some chatter from the neighbors at the town hall meetings that happen, and you can access those on YouTube. And I would encourage you, as we workshop through this, to listen to the neighbors' concerns and try to address as many of them as you can. The buffer, hours of operation, the noise, and try to address as many as you can before we get to public comment here. You'll be much more prepared. So that's my 2 cents for now, and I look forward to a site visit. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
I live on Cardinal Road.
Oh.
So, one thing I've noticed, I grew up in Hyde Park and I know the yard well. I used to get parts from there. We used to go in and pick and pull.
I sold them to you.
Yep, yep. We used to come over and used to walk in the field there. The only thing I noticed from my location, but I'm not super close, I'm at 55, is the trucks. A lot of trucks towing cars, flatbeds, with cars hooked to the flatbeds, and and stuff like that. And I'm not looking. My thing is I'm sure if I lived next to the yard, I'd hear the crusher and stuff, and maybe the business has changed. I'm not aware. I don't go and pick and pull parts anymore. I don't even know if they allow it. We used to walk right in the back of the yard and take the parts off ourselves.
Yeah.
And, but, you gotta, I would just encourage you to work with your neighbors and try to, maybe control the noise. Obviously, the environmental stuff is important. Again, that whatever's coming off the cars, whether it's oils, etc., is going into our water. I have well water. I put a lot of wells in, so you don't know what you're going to tap into and what vein the oils and stuff are going to hit. So my well's down 75 feet and I hit 35 gallons a minute. So it's that's my concern as a landowner, is controlling the chemicals, the stuff, and the runoff. I'm not sure about these cloth buildings. I've never seen them. That could last 20 years. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with it. But I would think you'd need apparatus inside of them for fire suppression, like Mr. Waters said. So, I mean, those are the things that go through my mind. What I'm not sure is the violations. What are they had violations, and then we had to look into their permit. Is that what's happening?
So,
can you explain to me?
There's two different violations, right? So there's a DEC level, and that they must address in order to continue their operating permit from a state level. And it's my understanding, based on your initial presentation, that you put changes like a concrete pad up in order to address the most recent DEC violation.
Correct.
So that's been rectified? Like as in...
It's in the process of being
Okay.
rectified with the DEC.
So now they're coming before this board. So then TAD has issued violations.
The building department.
The building
issued a
department, yes, the
violation.
building department.
I did one for the runoff onto the road.
Has issued, on behalf of the town, violations, zoning violations, violation of their permit, violation, I haven't looked at what they are, but in theory, violation of their permit. So they have now, since they added additional structures and have violated their permit, you now as a board get to reopen the permit and review, has the use changed? So when you give special permits, what that means is that your use is limited to what, you have a lot more discretion. It's not site plan, right? Site plan, you're looking at what does it look like. Special use permit is actually looking at the intensity of the use. What, like, has the use expanded? So since they have a violation and they've made physical changes to the site, they've reopened the special use permit. So you're able to look at things like hours and intensity. That being said, they do have they've been existing and they've been operating, so it's not as if their permit has expired. It just means that they're still operating under that permit, but you can make changes, is essentially what that means.
So, okay, so the way I see it is, so DEC violated them, basically, and said, okay, you got to fix this, so they tried to address it, and in turn, they created violations with the town.
Yes.
By not getting approvals for buildings and structures that they put on.
And this is common. I would not say this kind of like rhetoric of especially industrial uses to come back is a pretty common occurrence, but it always, courts trigger the reopening. I mean, it happens. And, it allows you to then take a look at their permit, even if it was done for environmental reasons.
And then we have this overarching umbrella with the locals around the property that are experiencing issues such as traffic.
And you're going to hold a public
noise.
hearing, you're required to, for site plan and special permit amendments, and you'll be able to hear the neighbors and address, local concerns to the extent, the use, if you can limit noise, like slatting a fence, or I'm throwing out random things that can, landscaping, high landscaping, things to limit noise is definitely within your discretion without digging too much into the special use permit conditions right now.
Thank you. So it's really clear to me now. So, I mean, my only advice would be to, this is actually a good thing. You can address the issues with the people that live around you. And me, I walk on Cardinal Road, so I see the trucks come flying up and down the road.
So something that we've done in the past.
Can you pull the
Sorry. Something that we've done in the past few months to rectify that is we changed the traffic pattern for the trucks. They don't go up Cardinal Road through the police station. They're coming through North Quaker.
Yeah, I noticed the
It's
decrease
a
in
shorter
traffic.
run over to the yard, and we've been on all of our drivers to take that route to limit some of the issues that we were creating on the road.
Okay.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Oh, that's positive.
Yeah.
Nothing more for me to add.
We'll hear from them.
Thank you very much. So you've heard some very good comments, and I would say that, here at the planning board, we will be working with you to try to get whatever needs to be rectified so that, I don't know, I'm not going to say so that people are happy, but, you know, there are a number of tools that can be used to address some of the issues that have come up here. And rerouting traffic may be one of them, but we'll be taking a deeper dive into it. My question is, what are asphalt millings? What, I
It's
don't,
ground up asphalt, pretty much.
where does that come from?
From the roads. They grind up the roads.
Oh, you're a
do new
storage
pave-
facility for them?
No, we had a problem with the neighbors in the town. I'm assuming complained that we were having like dirt on the road from the trucks because there was a lot of mud in the yard. When
Yes, it
we
was very
purchased.
muddy, yes.
Yes. So the way for us to try and fix it, it was putting the asphalt millings, which eliminated that. You know.
Okay. Okay.
And like I told Ted before, I said we're more than willing to work with anybody. You
Yep,
know, if the
good.
neighbors want to come and tell us what's
Good.
wrong, what needs to be fixed, we're more than willing to do. But nobody does come up there and complain. We hear through, you know, these meetings. So I
Yes.
wish people would come and tell us their concern because we're not. We're trying to work with everybody. You
Understood.
know? We're not there to piss anybody
So
off.
to that point, the board would like to set up a site visit sooner than later,
Yeah.
rather than later. I personally would love to have you demonstrate, like, what is it like when you are crushing something? Explain to us, like, how everything works. Other sites that we've gone on to, they walk us through the drainage process and there's all these so many special things for all the different fluids and stuff.
Mhm.
So we're just looking to see what the site looks like now and get a firsthand feel for the actual operation. So if we could work with Cynthia and the board here, and we'll set a time up.
Sounds
And
good.
I think we did it in February last time, and it was a beautiful day. It was a warm February day, so we'll pick one of those, but we don't want to wait till February. Really, if we can get something in the next few weeks, that would be lovely. We do understand that there's holidays, but we'll find something.
So we can work directly with Cynthia to coordinate that visit?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Let us know kind of what works for you, and then we'll try to get as many of us there as we can.
Sounds good.
So I don't think we have anything else.
Okay.
But
Sure. So I wrote down all the comments today. We will be looking to really make any improvements we can to address those concerns, as well as we'll take a look, listen to some of those town hall meetings to see if we can address some of those public concerns. I work right next to the guys that do NRI. We'll be making, addressing these comments just like they do. We won't be submitting as many hard copies constantly.
Don't give
to
me
you
a
guys,
pile of stuff,
but we
please.
will be listening and addressing those comments. With that being said, I think what we'll do is we will make some revisions based on tonight's comments that we're looking forward to submitting for a formal planning board meeting. So Cynthia, we can work directly with you to coordinate a submittal date. I know we're coming up with the holidays.
And Tad. Yep.
And Tad, yep.
Yeah.
So.
Great.
And yeah, I mean, I think, we spoke with Ray Cronenzer, the building department, as it related to these structures. He had the same sentiments that everyone on the board had tonight. This had to meet building code, it had to meet snow loads, all the typical requirements. They have an architect that's working with Ray on that process and has, recently submitted a package with all that material. So we'll make sure we get that into the planning board's hands as well.
Great.
So yeah, we're looking forward to working with you. We really appreciate your time and your comments tonight, and we look forward to being back in front of you.
Yep.
The other
Thank you
thing,
so much.
The other
Thank
thing
you,
too
guys.
is I would look at where you're storing your electric vehicles because that came up.
Oh, yeah, another one of the storage,
if we're doing
or salvage, yes, batteries. Battery storage.
That's going to be a comment.
Yes, we have learned a lot, haven't we? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. See you.
Happy holidays.
We'll either
Happy
see you this
holidays.
year or next
Yep.
year, so, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we have resolutions to do. There are no more public hearings or workshops. We are into doing the business of the board. First item on the agenda is 2026 consultant contracts. This is, we're looking to authorize Renia Engineering as our planning board engineer.
Oh, they have to
No?
be.
Victoria's first there.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Go back.
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
We could skip
Yeah.
Victoria.
No, you know what? I was reading at the top where it was talking about.
Got it.
It's okay. You don't need to authorize.
The only
sorry.
word was Renia. I didn't see RCP and, okay. So the first resolution is to reappoint Rodenhausen, Shale, Polidoro as legal consultants for 2026. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Rodenhausen, Shale, Polidoro for the year 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Welcome back. Our next consultant is a resolution to appoint Renia Engineering as planning and engineering consultants for 2026. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Renia Engineering for the year 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Welcome, we're looking forward
Thank
to
you.
working with you in 2026. Our next item on the agenda is a resolution to appoint Nelson Pope and Voorhis LLC as planning consultants for 2026.
I'm recused from this one.
Understood. Let's see. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Nelson Pope and Voorhis LLC for the year 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? I believe Ms. Wasser and Mr. Tuttle are abstaining from this. Did you do the other one too?
No, I've been voting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's been voting.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a resolution to reappoint Gordon and Svensson LLP as alternate legal consultants for 2026. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Gordon and Svensson LLP for the year 2026.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next item is a resolution to appoint CPL Architecture, Engineering, and Planning as alternate engineering consultants for 2026. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage CPL Architecture, Engineering, and Planning for the year 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I think there is at least one more. No, there's one more, there's one more. There is one more, I know. Next item on the agenda is a resolution of appreciation for Miss Stephanie Wasser.
I was on for 18 years, I didn't expect that.
No. Whereas Stephanie Wasser has served over 7 years as member of the planning board of the town of Hyde Park, and whereas during her tenure, Ms. Wasser served with distinction as a valued member of the planning board, and whereas Ms. Wasser was always well informed about and involved in board deliberations and consistently provided sage counsel, and whereas Ms. Wasser was integrally involved in reviews conducted by the planning board and made herself available for numerous non-quorum meetings with applicants, and whereas the planning board of the town of Hyde Park wishes to express its appreciation to Ms. Wasser for her unwavering and devoted service to the residents, business, and property owners of Hyde Park, now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby extends its appreciation to Stephanie Wasser for her distinguished service to the town and her commitment to improving the operations of its planning board.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you. I feel a little sad. It's been a great run, and lots happened to me personally over the course of my term on the board.
Yeah.
And I have to say the board kept me coping. Thank you all.
We're happy to have you. Very happy. Now, may I
Thank
get a
you.
motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
May everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Hanukkah, and we'll see everybody in 2026.
Thank you.